as we talk about competition breeds competition, and companies are always trying to get out in front, create new technology, new ideas. AuctionCast is something big with LandPROZ right now.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about it. How did it start? How did it come about? I mean, I want to know, more about the process. Yeah,
sure,
the concept.
Sure. Since the company was founded, I even think it's the biggest thing that we've done today, because really the whole goal was when trying to put LandPROZ together was to try to assemble a streamlined way with great team members to serve sellers and buyers, right? So you look at how does that work? Well, when we held an auction before, we'd go to a venue and we'd go here and we'd go there, and then of course as things progressed, throughout the 20-some years I've been in the business, online bidding became more popular and things like that. But it becomes, how can you reach more people and really bring the auction process to them? And that's what AuctionCast is. It is a live broadcast of an auction that we bring to them, via their phone, their tablet, even internet on TV, sitting at the comfort of their home. And it's an auctioneer, and it's much more than just that, though. It's commentation, it's land news updates, it's the value of knowledge and process, and then it's the networking and the marketing on top of that too. So it's really a full turnkey live auction, but it's got expert panels. It has all these things that we didn't have when we went to like the local VFW. It'd be a couple ringmen and an auctioneer, and we'd show up with some material and we'd do our very best. Right. But now we can sit here with a panel of expert people, like we've held sales with solar panel farms. We've brought people in that are experts in that. We can bring financial people in, attorneys and things like that, and we can incorporate them in the informative process, and we can do a great job.
So along those lines, though, AuctionCast just isn't specific to the county you're selling in.
Absolutely not.
It's going to be not only United States wide, but potentially could be worldwide, correct?
It is, and I want to speak to that a little bit. It's one thing that's very, very important to me is the buyers.
Yeah, right.
The buyers set the price.
Because oftentimes people think you're doing an auction just for the sellers.
Correct.
But in the AuctionCast scenario, you're actually doing it for both, which is a very unique idea.
It is a unique idea, and I think it's born out of necessity, because I've been in the real estate business 20 some years. Bought and sold farms and my own. I've sold a lot of farms on auction and private treaties. And what I noticed, the buyer pool changed so much. I'm sure when you got into this business, the most important buyer was probably the farmer that lived next to the farm.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, it absolutely was.
And you know what? The auction industry 20 years ago, 15 years ago, did an excellent job at capturing those buyers. You were doing what you needed to do then. Today, the buyers are so different. They're not necessarily the farm person next door.
Right.
They're not the guy that lives in town that retired and wants to buy more farmland. They're from all over the country.
Yeah, they absolutely are.
Right. And what we noticed was the buyer pool changed. Investors, everybody used to talk about investors. Well, now there's multiple classes of investors.
Yeah, the definition of an investor has changed. It used to be, where we were, we'd have some, someone that would sell a development property, and they, maybe have a one-time 1031 tax deferred exchange, and they'd come in as an investor. But now you've got groups of people or individuals that look at this totally different.
Oh, it's unbelievable.
And they're much more broad. They're from all walks of life. They're East Coast, they're down South, they're West Coast. It doesn't matter, but they're actually, with technology that's made available to them, they've actually have the availability to actually invest and buy land anywhere.
Right.
So that's where really the concept is born, is through the AuctionCast process. We can sell land or farms anywhere to anyone, and it isn't just an auctioneer. we've got the panel of experts, we've got the commentation, we've got everything, and we can do it in such a way where, like if you look at our auction schedule, Brian, Andrew, we've got 3 auctions a day scheduled back to back, where we can sell 3 different states, and we can do 3 different auctions because of that process. And in allowing us to do that, we actually increase buyer pool too.
Right.
Correct.
So
And that's important.
so that's an important point for our sellers when they're thinking about, it isn't just the marketing that we're putting out on one auction. It's the collective process that brings a lot more buyers to what we have.
Historically, people have said, I want the one auction. I want it to be my auction. It's my farm. I want it done to promote me.
And it still is.
But talk about a little bit how if you put 3 auctions in one day,
Sure.
each one of those farms are helping promote each other as well.
Cross-market.
So now you've just taken the individual promotion. They've all got the same high level you would have done prior to AuctionCast, but now having them all together, you're promoting as one big offering.
Correct. How I would describe that would be you're having a mega land event. So, so let's look at it like the other auction industries. Let's take antiques or something like that. If you have one item, sure, it's going to draw some buyers in, right? But if you have a very good collection of expensive things, you draw a lot of buyers in, and actually those buyers end up interested in other things that they might have not been interested. So let's say we have it in 3 states in one day. Let's just use Iowa, Illinois, and Indiana, for instance. And somebody's interested in your Indiana property as a buyer. Well, if they're an investor, they might buy the Indiana farm, and then they might go, well, oh, I saw the Iowa farm. They might come in and bid on that as well too. So you're not taking anything away. In fact, you're adding to it. And so it's a system where, that allows us, it's no different than if we had 3 auctioneer crews on the ground.
Correct.
But this way we can create mega land events, and that's really what we're going to do.
But in those 3 auctioneer groups, you have you're capturing limited buyers for each group, and what you're doing for AuctionCast, you're giving the ability for all those buyers to look at all the properties.
And I want to talk about what we do for our sellers to get to our buyers too. So when we talk about marketing and advertisement, the days of when I started, newspapers and things like that, it's much more. Do we do some digital print with direct mailers and stuff like that? Absolutely. But so much of it is in the digital space, SEO, SEM, Facebook stuff, Matchback, just a whole bunch of things that are so important. And we're not just spending a couple $100 of our marketing money when we go to work for someone. We're doing, large budgeted sale promotions.
Several thousands.
To be honest, when we block it like this, if we do a 2-day event like that, Brian, we're going to spend tens of thousands of dollars just digitally promoting these properties. And what that does in excess with our constant contact buyer pools and all that stuff, it literally brings thousands of potential buyers to attention of those farms. So they can be aware of all of those. And then that equates to more bidders, it equates to more money for the properties. And absolutely. And then, with added value like the land news update, I want to talk about that for a second. That's, we start every AuctionCast with a 5 property land update, and that's updated weekly through all of our data in all of greater mid-America that pertains to what we're selling. We can give them real time information.
So that's really important, that real time. A number of folks come to us as land broker and land professionals to know what real time pricing is, because everybody can go look up past information.
Correct.
But with a moving market, up, down,
all that matters is now,
real time
today.
So and with the busy pace of the world and different investors, that real time information is a commodity, and we need to serve and give that to people. So the land market update, in my opinion, is a necessity.
It's extremely important because in this industry, when we looked at specifically auctions, of course, because we're talking about AuctionCast,
right?
It's we've always focused, just on that farm and that property, but it's so much more than that, because it's the education. Because even if you look at your buyers, if they're more educated and they understand what's going on in the market, and we can have added value there, they will obviously inherently be more comfortable with it and spend more money, buy more farms.
Be more comfortable to bid.
That is exactly
That's it.
right, because it's about not only comfort for sellers and trusting in the process and trusting in who they're working with, but it's also on the buyer side. So really serving, like Andrew pointed out, sellers and buyers is of the utmost importance.
Yeah. Well, I can't wait to see more about AuctionCast, learn more about it, and be a part of its growth.
Oh, it's exciting. It is. And when you can get, great folks like yourself and some of the other experts we have on the team, and other companies that are going to be working with us on specific properties. And that's another thing I want to point out too. If you have a specific property that's got, wind or solar, or it's got minerals, or it's got a very unique feature that needs extra attention, we will bring in a panel of experts to help break that stuff down and deliver the information to the buyers.
Right.
Not only before our sales, but live during our AuctionCast sales.
Right.
So we will do that. We will take care of that and make sure that happens.
I think that's important for these buyers as we reach out to them across, the horizon, because they are everywhere now.
Yes.
They used to be next door, and
Right.
it used to be local.
Right.
The industry has changed. More people want to buy land. There's pension funds that want to
All
increase
sorts.
their holdings.
Absolutely.
There's groups of investors. There's smaller regional investors. They've just changed so much.
And there's mega large investors that bought 200,000-300,000 acres of farmland in the last couple of years. And it's just as simple as this. If we get double or triple the amount of interest in a given auction property, we are going to do better for our sellers. Right. And if we educate our buyers, they are going to feel more comfortable and spend more money on those properties, and everybody wins.
Everybody wins.
Well, Bo, just like any other technology, people are going to criticize it and naysay it. And, I always come back to the only thing that stays the same in any industry is everything changes. So it's going to be great looking forward to what kind of results we get.
Yeah. We are excited about AuctionCast, and we're going to bring that to the market, and it's going to be structured so people can attend these events. And, it's a busy, fast-paced world.
Right.
These buyers can't come to the local VFW anymore. It's, the world is moving faster. Let's be honest.
Well, as you said before, if you've got a buyer on the East Coast, West Coast, even a buyer in Indiana that's looking for an Iowa piece,
right?
It's expensive to travel, takes a lot of time. So if we can bring the auctions to them, we can satisfy a lot more.
Great point.
And you said a mouthful with that. Bring the auctions to them.
Yes.
And that is what we were trying to do with that and all the value that we can add to it.
That's a good point. Bringing the auctions, there has been some competition that's doing a good job bringing auctions via the internet.
Right.
But what I think was missing there is the information piece that you talk about. Just think if you were sitting in Houston, Texas, or let's even say Des Moines, Iowa,
right,
and you sold your Des Moines, Iowa farm because prices were at a high, and you were looking at a southern Minnesota or an eastern Illinois farmland that you wanted to maybe purchase with that 1031 tax deferred exchange, yes, you can go watch an online auction.
Right.
And you can read a map, but I think necessity, the information that we're going to provide via AuctionCast.
And I think it's even so much more than that, because if we look back at how we used to do auctions when I started, and even up to this point have still done some like that, local on site, there is still a personal touch and a personal flair kind of there. And as the industry is changing out of necessity, via tech, everything has went online, or you're seeing the virtual online.
Right.
But when you look at it, there is a disconnect. So it is very much a straight online auction, or it is a virtual online that is very, very monotone, disconnected, And what we're trying to do is we're going to bridge that gap, because we understand that the way that the world works and the way that tech works and that people want things to work is faster paced, real time.
Right.
But what we need to do is we need to ensure that we're giving quality at the same
Right.
time.
Right.
So that is not just an auctioneer standing at a podium, selling the sale, looking at a screen. It is so much more than that. It is the information up front with your updates. It's the commentation. It's the experts. And we still do phone-in bidders. It's online stuff. We've got a hybrid method.
We didn't forget about the local people, because they're very important. We need to get
So we have
them
a
all.
hybrid method as well with this
Right.
that we offer. So really, we cover all of it, because the point is we actually want to capture the best of all of it and bring it to the sellers and buyers. And
Right.
that's why the AuctionCast method is really what we're talking about. It's not just a basic virtual
Right.
online sale. It is a whole new
Right.
method of sale. It is a AuctionCast method with all of these wonderful things brought to the seller and buyer.
Yep.
Yes.